Now there are 10 graves in a line here. They're part of an Australian-British commando unit called Z Special Unit. They were a kind of sister force to Force 136. So there's a Singaporean connection in terms of Limbo Seng in Force 136. This was another unit. It was a commando unit based out of Australia. There are 23 graves from this unit in total. All 23 operated in something called Operation Remau in 1944, which was an attack on Keppel Harbour and on Japanese merchant shipping or Japanese shipping in Keppel Harbour. They tried it before, the year before, very successfully. This is something called Operation Jaywick. A year later they decided they were going to have another go using one-man submersible submarines. They paddled them in from the outer islands, came into Keppel. 6 of them managed to get in, the rest were kind of split up and fragmented. The 6 who came in sank 5 ships. The next day they tried to hightail it out and do island hopping back to Australia. The Japanese went after them and gradually mopped them all up. Now the Japanese records of the final surrender, of the sort of final death of the 6 who got into Keppel, was that they had managed to kill 80 Japanese in the process out of 120 who went on the island to get them. The final 10 were rounded up and brought back and given into the safe care of the Kempeitai. The Kempeitai were the Japanese military police, and the Kempeitai were not renowned for being soft and fluffy. They tortured this group for several months, and then in July 45, so just before the surrender, a month before the surrender, and the Japanese were starting to kind of bury the evidence at that point. They were starting to try and cover up some of the things. These 10 were court-martialed. They were found guilty of damaging imperial property and of perfidy, which is probably one of the most unusual crimes that you can be accused of committing. They were then taken off and taken to the corner of what's now Clementi and Commonwealth, just up from Dover Road, where Singapore Poly has its place. And all 10 of them were executed with blunt swords. So they did not meet a particularly humane death. But these 10, as they operating in an extremely brave group, and these were a commando unit, a relatively small commando unit, but part of the history of this war in Singapore after the surrender and before the Japanese surrender.